Hello everyone, this is Tim, and as you can see it's kind of snowy and frigid right now here in Pennsylvania, but I figured I'd do a real quick live video. So I was thinking of ideas I could come up with for another topic, and the ideas of affairs, marriage, love triangles, relationships, that sort of thing popped into my head. So with modern settings, I was just thinking about like my own life, my own work history, and the various like rumors and basically like lurid affairs and things that I've heard about while I was working about other people. So just some real world examples. I guess we'll throw in some realism here. So when I worked for UPS on the third shift, it was not odd or rare to see people walking out together who were married to other people. Or to put this in RPG parlance, about 1d10 cars would be parked at the back of the parking lot at the end of the shift, spaced out just enough to give each other a little bit of room back there. So yeah, you see couples walking out that had wedding rings that weren't obviously married to each other, that sort of thing. Sometimes at UPS as well. Again, I don't know if it's just the third shift, if that kind of brings that out in people or what. But at least once a month, someone would come like bolting into the UPS hub and screaming, wanting to know where her husband was, where was the dirty expletive that he had slept with. So yeah, so these sorts of things have been pretty common in my work history. I remember there'd be guys hiding. Again, this is UPS. Like up like 20 feet in the air on like some conveyor belt or some platform just because his wife was looking for him for the nefarious deeds that he had committed, apparently and probably in the back of the parking lot. So so that's been going on. What else have I had? McDonald's, that was pretty much like high school type era, like romance to include in things, but that was pretty tame. I think the only thing that I can remember from McDonald's was that sometimes like a girl's boyfriend who was very jealous would come through the drive-thru and order like a glass of water or like a drink, something really small that was cheap, just to see if she was working there, if she wasn't like out cheating on him with somebody else. So that's UPS, McDonald's. I worked as a lunch lady once up at college. And even there was drama between, like, they weren't married or anything, but boyfriend and girlfriend, and this lady was talking to this girl, and this guy was jealous, and he wasn't sure if she was sleeping with her. So there's always these fears, this paranoia of your significant other, cheating on you, or committing these things, or having a crush, or falling in love with somebody else. And a lot of times that fear and paranoia can spin, and it almost becomes like a fulfilled prophecy. Because you're worried about that happening, it happens. So I've tried to include some of this in my games. I've tried to bring some of these real world like love triangles and relationships and romantic problems into some of my games, and sometimes it's been appreciated as something different. Like, oh wow, that you put that into a dungeon crawl campaign, like there's somebody in town who, I'm married to, and then there's this other lady who's attracted to me. So, wow, I've never seen that in, like, a Labyrinth Lord campaign, for instance. So, again, it depends on what your group's into. The reason I tagged Aaron is because of his love of Blue Rose, which is an RPG that involves romance and intrigue and bringing in these elements of human nature that sometimes we don't really delve into in RPG campaigns. We just avoid that topic. I think for some people this is kind of awkward and they don't really want to deal with it. And for other people like Aaron, oh, there's Aaron. Hey, Aaron. The reason I tagged you, man, is because the only person I really know that's been talking about romance ever is you. So this is kind of a video response to, kind of like a long series of videos that you had. You'd mentioned romance a lot, and incorporating these themes into campaigns, and how it can be something different, like a fresh look on things, a fresh topic, a fresh way to take a campaign, or at least a session, something different to include that your players might not expect. But at the same time, some players just might not want that. So I talked a little bit about different sorts of affairs that I've seen just in my work history. Just things that I've heard, rumors, and so forth that you can maybe include in your campaigns. Currently, I work in a group home, and there's lots of different group homes. So my company has like 100 or 200 houses. So there's all these different work sites and all these different people that can work together. And I think it's at least once a month you hear of people hooking up, like after hours, or downstairs in one of the bedrooms, or two people will just like go off in a van and be gone for like 2 hours and come back. So these are just like real world examples of things you could include in like modern games like Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf. There's that aspect of work. Just going away to work that provides like temptation and meeting people that you would not normally meet in your otherwise normal routine. So I don't know, the idea of having your character bump into NPCs or bump into other characters, like maybe there's a new trustworthy companion that comes into the Adventurers Guild or whatever, and you can be proactive as a player and try to incorporate these themes yourself. It doesn't have to come down from the GM to the player. It can be something that you include, or that you can bring forth via dialogue and flirting. Bringing presents to somebody else. These things that you can do. You don't have to wait for it to be handed down to you. You can incorporate that yourself. Leave room for love and sex in games. Yeah. This is Aaron talking to me. Aaron, I wanted to say that, like I said, your videos kind of put this idea into my head that, I had incorporated some of these to a limited extent with lots of fade to black, but I've tried to do that more, especially with like Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire games, and like I said, even a Labyrinth Lord campaign, I included that too. And it's one of those things that I think is good to offer to players as an option, sort of like any other plot thread or plot point that you can put down and see if they pull on the string. It give them an option and see what interests them, see what they pursue. Because if you don't offer it, you'll never know if that would be something that they would be into or not. It's pretty obvious when they don't. That a lot of people will like tell you after the session, like, that's not really my thing, man. I appreciate you trying, but and then but so I think, what else can I think about? It's just another tool in your tool belt. That's what Aaron says. It's just an option that you might not think about normally. Like, oh, we're going to kill the dragon, but maybe we fall in love with the hobgoblin butler along the way or something. Or there's the person who's making my sword for me, and the blacksmith starts hitting on me, or whatever. And these are things that you can just throw out there. And again, you never know how players are going to react. But I feel like it's good to have that as an option, or something different to put into things. So affairs, love triangles. Again, this could be something that has to do with work. That tends to happen, but it doesn't have to be with work. So a lot of player characters aren't married, but I think this would probably work best if maybe something with like Pendragon, or somewhere that tries to incorporate like marriage and traditional kind of like relationships, and then throw it for a loop. Have an NPC flirt with them, or pay attention to them, or maybe their significant other doesn't pay attention to them. Maybe they are cruel to them, and so it opens up these sort of like cracks in their personality and their morals or whatever, where, maybe I should talk to that person. Maybe I should pursue this person who's flirting with me, who's actually being nice to me. I think as a GM too, it's like offering temptations can be an interesting thing to just put into the narrative to see where it goes. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what choices are going to be made. But I feel like it's something that should be mentioned. So, I'd love to hear if you've included romance, love triangles, affairs, divorce, marriage, that kind of thing in your campaigns. I'd love to hear about it. So, that's it. Topic for the day. I'll talk to you later.